In this DVD, I kind of wanted to, we talk about food and stuff, and kind of wanted to at least touch on some of the Aboriginal cooking ways, because there are, different ways that you can cook things out in the wild. And a lot of people they say, well, I'll just put it on a stick. Well, there's only so much that marshmallow roast type of cooking can do. There are things you can cook that way, and that works quite well. But there are a lot of things that will end up drying it out for you, and that's not what you want. So we wanted to kind of touch on at least some of the techniques that you can use. We're going to put on here a way to emmer roast. Now, emmer roasting is probably one of the biggest ones you'll do. And in an emmer roast, you're going to actually cook your stuff inside the ash and the coals that are down the bottom of your fire. And you want it down there in that ash and in the coals down there, because if you get it covered, then it blocks the oxygen from getting to it. If the oxygen can get to it, then it's just going to burn up on you, and that's not what you want. And so you got to get it down in there. We'll have a way of doing we do some roots there, and we'll show you how to do that. Now, there are times when you're going to emmer roast when you may make up some patties out of some grains or something that you grind up, and you make a patty and you want to bake that. And so sometimes when you emmer roast, you're going to wrap stuff in a leaf. Now, make sure that you get a leaf that is non-toxic and not poisonous, and wrap it in there. And then also on this DVD, you'll see that we have cordage on here as well. And so you go learn how to make some small cordage and wrap it in leaf and tie it with cordage. Get that down in your embers. That way you can roast things. You can bake small biscuits and stuff that way. So ember roasting is one of the ways you're going to do quite a bit, actually, is done by ember roasting. I've seen Aboriginals, I've seen them actually do a whole lizard by ember roasting. They would get their coals going, they would move them aside, they would get that thing in between, they'd cover them up, put a bunch of bark right over the top, and then they would cover that with moss and stuff or sand, and let it bake that way. I've seen them do turtle as well. And so ember roasting, there are different forms of it, but it's a very handy one, and it's probably one of the quickest, and probably the one you'll use a lot. Now, another one is called a pit oven. That's probably another one that you're going to use a tremendous amount. Pit ovens are really nice. We got one on here. Go look and watch that one. And pit oven is where you're going to dig a pit, and you're going to line it with rocks. And then now when you get your rocks, again, we got to warn you, on the water DVD we talk about boiling water with rocks. And here we're going to get rocks and we're going to heat them up. Now, whenever you get a rock and you're going to heat it up, especially with your fire, it is very, very important to get your rock from a place that is not wet. If you get rocks from a place that is wet, over a long period of time, that wetness can seep into that rock, even though they dense and stuff. They're porous enough that water can get in over a long period of time. And when that happens, if you go ahead and heat that rock up with your fire, then that water ends up turning to steam, and it can't get out of that rock quick enough. And when it turns to steam, it's got enough power, it'll actually make that rock a grenade and it'll blow up. And that's happened. And so get your rocks from an area that is not wet. And, so line your pit with rocks, and we'll show you how to do that. And then you want to make a covering, we'll show you how to do that. Now, these things can be small, just for a little bit of stuff, or they can be really large. You can get pit ovens big enough to cook a whole deer. You can make them that big. So keep this in mind. That's another very good technique. We also show you a sand oven, and sand ovens are usually used if you want to roast, nuts and seeds and stuff. And sand ovens are good for that. We show you a sand oven there. That's another technique. And so different ways to cook, and marshmallow roasts, everybody realizes those, but they don't know about these others, and they are techniques that are very handy. And so we just kind of wanted to touch on it. We talk about food, and one of the things we need to also know in a survival situation, well, how do we prepare that food, how do we cook it? So we're just going to touch on that. So go out and practice these things. They're a lot of fun. So, and then once you know how, if you're in a situation, then you'll know exactly what to do, and then you go ahead and do it. So different ways of Aboriginal cooking. Go have fun.